Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our workshop today. My name is Ronnie from NEMation Studio, and I'm very excited to do this pilot workshop for storyboarding as a day one pilot workshop. Then tomorrow we have a day two. I hope to see all of you, or most of you here for the AI animation workshop. So the goal for today is to use storyboarding to understand the basic of storytelling and how can we use what we have learned today and apply it to do AI animations, which is a more technical process for tomorrow. So let me hand over to Zhihao to do the proper training.
Okay, hi everybody, my name is Zhihao. So as what Roy mentioned before, tomorrow you guys are going to do AI image generation, but I believe that, actually, do you all know what is storyboarding? Does everybody know what is storyboarding? No, right? I realized that we have quite a wide range of age group here, and I think it's very good. No, I'm thinking the good group. No, I okay, sensitive. It's a good thing to understand the basic fundamentals of why we need to do this before we do the AI image generation. But before that, let me just do a quick introduction of myself. Okay, so my name is Zhihao. I'm actually a brand creative director now, but I was a visual effects supervisor working in the industry for about 15 years with experience in supervising and art directing, okay, for visual effects for commercials, motion graphics, and TV series. Okay, so I work over 100 over projects like Audi, Snickers, and Lenovo, and then IT, Netflix, and Malala. Okay, so this is some of my works. Okay, but enough about me. Okay, so now we move on. I just want to have your assurance that someone with experience is teaching you all storyboarding. Okay, so welcome to storyboarding. Okay, where we turn ideas into visual stories. Now, before we move on, just want to ask you all, who's watching animated or live action recently? Jerry, yeah. Yeah. So any most recent live action animated show you watch?
Live action.
I mean a few now. Okay, movie. When was the last time you went to
Movie Black Dragons.
on Netflix? Yeah, you know, recent. I think film because I feel that is there any recent film don't necessarily have to be cinema, can be the Netflix or like
The Zero.
the Zero Day of Wow. Good choice. Anyone else here? Any recent movies, animated film? So many audience watch. I would thought the young ones will watch more movies recently. On Netflix, watch it on Netflix. Okay, never mind, it's okay. So, okay, yeah, this is a good example. Okay, the thing is that all these shows that we watch, at the end of the day, they are Kung Fu Panda 4 also. So the thing is that all these actually have a process before they go to the final stage, which is actually a pre-production. And inside this pre-production, there is a storyboarding stage. Okay. So actually, like for Kung Fu Panda, the reason why I picked these images are because like even for animation, Kung Fu Panda, they also did storyboarding. This one is actually for the Black Panther, the Marvel movie. So they also do storyboard, to plan their production. And this is also another film. The young one. Yeah. So yeah, see, even this kind of like thriller, they actually plan storyboarding. Okay, just to get this out. So, what is storyboard? Okay. Now, in a nutshell, it's basically a sequence of images put together, representing shots planned for film or animation. This is like the Google kind of explanation. Now, storyboarding is not just, you can see actually a lot of things, like in animation. I'm sure you all, one way or another, know what is animation movie. And then live action, Uncharted, the Tom Holland one. Yeah. So this live action film, even games, who play The Last of Us, not the movie, I saw your hand raised up. Yeah, so storyboarding is also used for games, okay? and also for commercials. Okay, so this actually, you probably don't know this commercial, but I picked this example to let you know that actually they were boarding it and then they kind of follow it more or less similar to the actual shot. Okay, so this is just to show that storyboarding is more or less a blueprint, okay, for visual storytelling. So when you do your AI image generation, the thing is that you probably need this blueprint to actually start off before you even work on your image generation and generate image for your video. Okay, so why do we do storyboard? Yeah, tomorrow you're gonna do this. Very nice. Wow, you right? Nice visuals. And then I'm sure you all will probably have fun doing all these things, but if there's no connection, most likely it will be just a series of illustrations, maybe a portfolio of work. Okay? Now, what is this? Stage. Okay, this is the example of a storyboard that the storyboard artist drew for the view and stage. Can you tell what's happening? You like to they think what's going on. It's just a simple scene only. Mm.
Yeah, maybe stage is trying kind of like why
Is it clear? Like compared to just now that one, where
sure, yes.
right? I mean, this one is like, wow, very nice, but the most going on. In fact, I intentionally picked the kind of same color palette to feel like it's the same thing, but it's actually all just random images. Okay, so actually, storytelling, storyboarding, we need to use this to kind of tell the story clearly. And the thing is that all stories, okay, or all movies, things that I want to say, there's a certain structure that we kind of follow, okay? The most basic fundamental one is the 3x story structure. Something to just teach you all. When you tell a story, actually, you know, when you tell a joke to your friend, or even when you tell something that happened, you probably did implement this 3x story structure somewhere one way or another. Okay? But what is the 3x story structure? Okay, we planned it with the first act, which is called the setup. It's more or less the exposition, the inciting incident. Okay? These are all just words, later, okay, just go through first. So what's Act 2? Act 2, the rising action. Okay? The confrontation, where a character is going to go through a series of obstacles, challenges. Okay? Act 3, the climax resolution. Okay? And to put in a simpler diagram form, this is how normally it would look like. So Act 1, okay, we have the hero, start of the show, start of the movie. Okay, set up. See, this is a graph. I'm sure you all understand, like, graph. So rising action, going up, it's going to go through a series of events, challenges, and at the climax, it's going to do something, impactful. And after that, it's going to go to the resolution where it becomes the hero it's meant to be. Okay, so this is actually the 3-act story structure. How do we apply it to what we see every day, or even to any films? Okay, there is some example we want to share with you so that you have a better context of what this is. Anybody know what's Finding Nemo? Right, I think quite universal lah. So Finding Nemo also have a 3-act story structure. So Act 1, Merlin. So Merlin is the hero of the Finding Nemo. Okay, he is an overprotective father. Okay, he lost his wife, and then his kid, and he's left with Nemo. Okay, and then his only son Nemo now got captured. So because of this, Merlin has to leave his safe home to go and find him. Sorry, I just want to check. Anybody here never watched Finding Nemo before? Never. One way or another, never watched. Like, Then very good. I go with this TikTok guy. I go explain to you Finding Nemo. Okay?
Alright.
Okay? Yeah.
What to say?
It's okay, no. Act 2, okay, the rising action. Merlin is gonna face many obstacles, okay, with his help with his new friend Dory. Okay, he's gonna face sharks and then what other obstacle did he face? Those that watch. Yeah, my was actually down the crab, and then he met turtles, right? Yeah. And then Nemo also. Nemo has his own side story, right? He's planning to escape from the fish tank. So they all have their own rising action, their own confrontation, their own conflicts. Okay? Now, Act 3 is the resolution, the climax. So Merlin and Nemo, they reunite after everything happened, they grow stronger, and then Merlin learns to trust Nemo, Nemo becomes more, they show that he can take care of himself more. Okay, so this is basically how the 3-act story structure is being used in Finding Nemo. Now, we go to a live action one. This one also classic one. The first one, not the very old one already. This is the number one, Philosopher's Stone. Again, who never watched before Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone? It's up for you now, okay? Yeah, this is the first one when he's a very little boy. You see, he's a boy only. Yeah, now he's a man already, but this is when he's very young at the time. Yeah. So Act 1, okay, the exposition. Harry lives with his auntie and uncle, okay, in a very sad life. And that's before he discovered that he was a wizard. And then he started to have a new life at Hogwarts, where he meets his friend Hermione and Ron. That's the setup. Okay? So in Act 2, same thing. Because this movie is about the Philosopher's Stone, so Harry and his friend, they start to uncover the mystery of the Philosopher's Stone. And then they face challenges, magical creatures, like this 3-headed dog. And then they... Any other thing that you face, you remember? The chessboard, yes. The one of the climax, right? And then got some of the teachers that they tackle with, right? Professor Snape. Yeah. And actually, climax. Okay? So he confronts Voldemort, the main villain. Okay? He protects the stone, he saves Hogwarts, and returns home. So this is another example of how the 3-act structure is being used in this kind of classic films. Okay? Yeah, I thought a lot already. I want to ask you all, okay, let's have some, let's see what you all know about this movie. How many of you never watched this movie before? Oh.
Yeah.
I feel that the movie that I picked here are really classic, and they are the one that really resonate with a lot of people because they have multiple sequels, and this one you have to watch to really get the feeling of the Matrix. Okay? Now, Act 1. Can I check? Anybody know what it's about? Anyone want to have a take? Everyone. Yes, definitely make you blueprint. Yeah. That one is one of the top points, right, in the story. Yeah. We condense it in a very simple way. So actually, Neo, he met Morpheus. Okay, Morpheus is the botak guy with the glasses one. Okay, and then he learned that his entire world is fake. Okay, it's actually a simulation run by called the Matrix, created by machines to control people. Very cool show one. You have to watch. It's one of the most iconic sci-fi punk movie during our time. I think it was 1999. Quite emotional. Yeah, I just. Anyone know what happened in Act 2? Anyone know what happened in Act 2? The one in the back, Yes. So he trains in the real world, okay? But the problem is that he's also facing a lot of conflicts, a lot of confrontation. He's doubting that he's the one, okay? I mean, he's battling a lot of agents, okay? These are all drama hooks, but the thing is that the most the biggest problem is he's struggling to believe in himself. Okay, even though Morpheus keep iterating with him, hey, you are the one, but no, I'm not. This one. This is a very iconic scene during our time. Hey, what happens here? Oh, beginning to believe, right? If you all watch the movie, there's a scene, there's a line where Morpheus says, it's beginning to believe. Yeah. So Neo says Morpheus, okay, and now he starts to believe himself already. He's unlocking his true power, okay? And then he defeats Agent Smith, the enemy, and then he becomes the hero he was meant to be. So this actually, okay, it's like the climax and the resolution. Okay? So these three shows how we can actually see the 3-act story structure being used. Okay? Now, it comes back to the point again. So why is storyboarding important to us? Okay? I mentioned before, all the movies that we watch, TV shows, Korean drama, before they shoot any of this, they have this pre-production stage. And most likely, it will involve storyboarding. If we don't do storyboarding, the director goes in and shoots 1,000 of shots. How is he going to know what to shoot, right? So, in short, you're going to save time in production. And saving time equals saving money. Okay? This one is important because it essentially eventually helps to communicate the story. It can be a film, it could be a TikTok video, it could be something that you want to say to someone, but storyboarding, it helps to communicate the story better, okay, rather than just telling it. And also helps to spot the issue early. Because if you're going to start to create your story later for the new generation, if you don't have this process, there's a high chance that there might be some story points, some plot points that you might not get or you might not spot until if you don't do this. And by then it's too late because you're already generating images. Then you're going to waste more time again, which comes back to the first point that you're going to waste time in production. Okay, so it's good to do storyboarding so you can help spot your issues, which eventually is essential when you're going to use AI, okay, to do your visuals. Okay, now, later, everyone is going to have this piece of paper. Okay, we're going to go full on traditional, no Wacom tablet, no iPad, we're going to just draw with the pencils, erasers, and sharpener, okay, and this paper to draw out your storyboard. Okay, classic traditional method. Yeah. And I'm just going to briefly run through what all these things are about so that you can better understand how to draft out your storyboard, your blueprints, okay, for this video. So the first one is actually the scene where we label where the actions happen in the story. Most of the time, this will actually be a number. Later, I'll show you an example of how we use it, okay? Then the shot. Okay, what's the difference between the scene and the shot? Now, the scene is what is happening within the area. But the shot is actually, you might have multiple shots that are happening within the scene. So, this helps to break the scene into smaller visual parts, okay? The camera is where we show how the shot is filmed. The types of shot, later I will explain more. And then this is where you put the dialogue sound, where your character is saying something, or there's some sound effects or music. Okay? And then this is the description, where we briefly show the setting and move the shot. Okay, followed by describing what the characters, the objects are doing. Okay? Don't worry about this, we're going to remember this later when we're doing the exercise. I will explain more. So just now, thing that we saw, they are in a way called the language of storyboarding. I mean, like, our Chinese, English, when you speak, when we do storyboarding, there is a language to it also. Okay? And what is some of the main essential language that we want to share here today? The first one is the kind of shots that we use. So, establishing shots. Now, this kind of shot doesn't necessarily have to be in the outside. It can be in the inside also. The main role is to show where is the scene. Okay, so it's called an establishing shot. And then we have next the full shot, which is more likely showing the full shot of the character or the object or the subject matter. And then we go on to the medium shot, okay, where it's actually the waist up to show more of the upper area of the character. The close shot, which is actually showing more of the character head already, more or less the expression. And this is the extreme close shot, yeah. So once we have the basic shots, we have a little bit more interesting like the up shot, or we call it the low angle shot. Yeah. Okay, where we shoot from below to convey certain mood. Okay, it could be something that is very sinister or something that is very dramatic, very grand. Okay, but basically you make this person look very big. And then we have the down shot. Okay, when you have the up shot, low angle, you have the down shot, which is the high angle shot, where you make this character look smaller. Okay. And then we have the two shot. Now this shot, most of the time you see in a lot of Korean drama, they just stop here back and forth, two hits. Yeah. And also the over the shoulder shot. So if let's say your story has certain scenes that have people talking with each other, this will probably be the kind of shots that you use. And followed by POV shots, which is shot for point of view. So it's actually from the person's point of view. Okay? And then we also have low angle shots that to make more dynamic shots to tell the story, where we have two people inside. Okay? And this one is a very dynamic shot also. It's called the tilt or the Dutch angle, which we just tilt the thing slightly. I believe a lot of TikTok videos they have this kind of angle where they tilt the thing just to make it look more cool, more dynamic. Okay? So these are just some of the basic shots that you should know so that you can use it to create your storyboard with it. Sorry, up to now, any questions? I want to I scared you're like, wow, what we overlook. Okay? Anything? Yeah? Okay. For camera movement, same thing, some basics camera movement only. We have the pan up and down. So this is actually an arrow. It's going to be supposed to be in red. Okay, so this is just to indicate whether this shot is going up or going down. Okay, by the direction of the arrow. So for this will be panning left and right. Okay, and then we also have the pan diagonal. And we have the zoom in and out. So these are also very, very basic camera language, camera movement that you just need to know. And also to draw arrows to your subject, your characters, or your object to indicate the direction of where the action is going. Okay, composition. Oh, like you're like, wow, what's this? This is like some Da Vinci thing. Now, composition is actually something that is also very essential, other than just understanding the camera movement and all the camera shots. Because composition, what is composition? Basically, we are arranging all these visual elements together, okay, to frame what is important, the focus, where the focus is, what is the mood, and what is the story that you're going to tell in the shot, okay. You probably will see it in a lot of films. I'm sure this thing you probably might see in some of the films also, okay, and this helps to convey certain tone, certain mood to it. But I believe you guys are going to be like, wow, I cannot remember. Okay, that's why I put it down for you. The most commonly used one. And I believe some of you might even know this. Does anybody know what's the rule of thirds? No? Yeah, I mean, for people who do TikTok content, they probably also know. Because there's certain. You sure you hate this one? This is good to know now. Because I believe everyone here might not know, you might subconsciously actually know that you are using the rule of thirds without you not knowing it. What is the rule of thirds? Actually, it's basically these 4 points here. And wherever you put, as long as you put within the 4 points, it's going to be, it will look nicer than you just putting everything in the middle. So there's some examples here, like you see these two heads talking. We have this animation. This is actually a scene from Thor, and this is just a photograph. But you realize that when we put them, the things that we want to see, within the 4 points, more or less the composition will look balanced. Okay? So I believe in those TikTok videos, they also share, hey, don't put everything in the middle, put the head here or put this there. So this is actually called the rule test. It's a very simple but very strong concept to understand. Okay? And you probably are using a lot when you draw a storyboard later. And also I identify a few simple composition concepts that you all can explore later. So we have the circular one, and then we have the C shape, we have the cross, and then we have the golden section. Okay, so these are actually some examples of how we can lay them out. It might not be just be trees, it could be buildings, parks, whatever that is suited to your story later. Let's see. Okay. Okay, next we move on to character and emotion. Now the thing is that your story most likely will have a main character involvement. Okay, and this character needs to be clear what he's conveying. So one very simple but very important rule in our storyboarding world is we show, we don't tell. We don't write that Bob is angry, Lisa is sad. Yeah, how sad? How angry? How happy? Okay. When we want to convey certain emotion, there will most likely be certain actions or expressions that we'll have. So it's a bit small, but later we will show this screen. We show this up in the slideshow later. So example, for afraid, the hands could be shaking. Okay, the covering of mouth with the hand. Okay, fast, heavy breathing. Now, happy, smiling face, laughing, giggling. So you don't necessarily just need to draw one guy happy there. It could be smiling, laughing, giggling, and jumping up and down action. Okay? So all these things can be examples of ways to convey the expression or the emotion of the character. Of course, I believe that actually at this point I just want to check first. How many of you are actually good at drawing? Raise your hand. Anyone here is actually a hidden artist? You are? Okay, you're gonna be. No, okay. Whoever can draw here, you're all gonna be very essential roles later, okay? But the reason why I picked this example is I want to show that you don't need to draw well. You just need to be very clear in your emotion and your expression. Just need to make sure you know to draw the eye, the eyebrows, and the mouth shape. Okay? So later we will show this also later in case you need to have certain expression that you want to express. Up to now, any question first? So just now, whatever we went through was just some basic fundamentals of storyboarding. Any question? Am I going too fast? Am I like rambling and then you guys are like, what is he talking about? Okay, good, So, with that being said, we're gonna move on to what we're actually gonna do now. Okay? So for this event, it's actually for animation. So we're gonna create a storyboard to tell a story with a theme that's related to the total defense pillars. I'm not sure if I've asked this. Can anyone name me the total defense pillars? Okay, good job. KPI met. Awesome. Okay, awesome. Okay, yeah, so we have, these are the 6 pillars: the military defense, civil defense, economic defense, social defense, digital defense. Okay? I actually created an example because like just now, whatever that you all saw, I believe for you all to absorb 20 to 30%, I think not bad already. But I want to put into context all those things that I will share with you, like the language of storyboarding, the 3x story structure, how do we actually use it. So this is just an example, okay, of how you guys will draw your stuff here later, okay? Yeah, just explain to you, the story also. So this is an example using the digital defense theme. Okay, so this is actually called the Phantom Link. You guys can come up with some fancy name later for your story, okay? And so I just go through panel by panel, okay? And also show you how I actually wrote the thing. So let's say first one, okay? Scene one. Okay, this is actually scene one and shot one. So this is actually the established shot of a sleek futuristic classroom in Singapore. Okay? And then there's a narrator there. In the future, every student has AI companion to help them learn and protect them online. Okay? And after that, we move on to the second shot. Okay, you realize that this is still scene one, because as I mentioned, this is still the same place. This is still within the classroom. So the scene number shouldn't change, but we change the shot. And I decided to use a panning shot, medium shot, to just show what is happening. So there's a description here. The students are seated with small glowing AI companions that look like ops. Okay? They're floating beside them. Around them got screens moving in the air, holographic trees, okay, outside the window. We move on to the third shot, still scene one. So medium shot. So the description here, we focus on our main character, Alex, and his AI called VE. Okay? So down here is where V alerts Alex. Saying, hey, morning, Alex. Oh, this is the song of the yeah, Alex. A phantom thing is spreading across the device. Okay? So we cut into this shot here. Okay, I decided to have this zoom in on the phone. Okay, and then suspicious holographic message. Okay, flashes on Alex's phone. Unlock. Unlimited powers. Click here. And then Alex will have a dialogue here. Looks cool, but something's off. We move on here to shot 4. Shot 5. Yeah. So I decided to use an up shot, which is a low angle, to show because it's going to transform already. So Alex and V gear up with glowing tech armor. So I wanted to use a low angle shot to make him look more strong and powerful, more cool when he is transforming. Okay, so it's like the Iron Man suit. So let's trace where this link came from. Okay, so we move on to the next scene. So down here is considered a new scenery. So I just put scene 02, okay, and then shot 1. So a neon digital city called a cyberspace, where streams of data and city-like digital buildings zoom past. So they're actually flying past this digital space. And then down here, I decided to have a full shot, pan up to down. So the camera is actually. So some of you might think, hey, how to draw? The space is not enough. To me, I'm okay to actually just draw within this, just to indicate that there is a pan up and down. So the camera will just pan down, and then ominous music. So we show a shadowy alley of the neon city, and then Alex and V find monstrous digital creatures feeding on corrupted things. This one is just roughly drawing how this thing will look like. Then we move on to scene 3. Okay, shot 2. And then a rhythm shot. Okay, where we zoom into the virus. There's this giant glitchy figure. It's called a virus entity. Yeah, all these names very lame, but it's just example. Okay, you all can come up with cooler names like this. Then he looms about. So this he looks like that. This is actually a over the shoulder shot, by the way. Yeah. So because they are in the foreground, and then this villain is actually in the background. So the virus entity steals data and personal info. So yeah, it's stealing this stuff. And then he says, "Click your mind. Click, and your mind belongs to me." And then he cut to the reaction of V, okay, the AI op. So it's just saying, it's not just stealing data, it's brain hacking. Then you zoom in, okay, to V, and then we realize that V realized that the virus entity is what he's trying to do. Okay, so I decided to use this to make it a little bit more impactful of what's the realization from V. So down here start to have dramatic fight scenes, okay? So the virus spots them and it starts to attack them in different directions. Okay? So I'm drawing arrows also to indicate roughly the actions of what's going on. Then we show that Alex and V dodging the attacks using firewalls and shields. So this is actually the firewall. So all these things are being blocked by them. Okay? And there's a dialogue where Alex says, protect, report, fight back. V says, activating digital defense protocol. Okay, so there's the so-called defense protocol. And then lastly, Alex will start firing the verification plus. Okay, B to shoot at him. Okay, to weaken virus. So this is actually a full shot. You know, like those Dragon Ball Aruka, and then they do Kamehameha. Yeah, so this kind of, so you have to also think about what kind of shot best portray what you want to tell, okay, for that moment. So for me, I decided to choose a full shot to show the impact of how powerful this game is. And then after that, triumphant music, okay? So the virus collects into a lot of data fragments. The city becomes bright and live, okay, with color and data. So this is just showing this virus is shattering. So we cut back to the white shot, okay, of the school, the classroom. So they fly back into the window, cheering sounds from the classmates, okay. So Alex and B return to the real classroom where others cheer at them. And then followed by this shot where there's this hologram that appears behind, announcing Digital Defenders Awarded, okay. And then Alex and B, they both look very happy, okay. So it's not just happy, I give them a pose to feel that they're proud of themselves. Okay? So actually all these are also considered staging, composition. We have to figure out like, okay, if you want to have all these things, how do we put them in the shot? Okay, so the last shot, basically the camera zooms out, like those typical Hollywood show, they zoom out from this classroom, they zoom out, show the futuristic city of Singapore. Okay, and then followed by the narrator in the digital world. One smart choice can protect everyone. Stay alert, stay strong. Okay? And the end.
Well done.
Now, as I mentioned, the drawing actually is very rough. So I believe maybe some of you might even be more rough later. But to me, to us, as long as you understand how or when to add shots to make sure that the flow of the story or the scene, whatever you want to convey, is clear. Because imagine I cut certain things out, okay? It might not be as clear as this. So you might have to figure out, let's say you do have a certain story or script. You need to figure out, let's say, when you write it out or you draw it, whether it makes sense or not. So you might have to ask your peers, do you know what I'm talking about this thing? Okay? That's the thing about storyboarding. You only when you board, then you realize whether it makes sense before you go to the actual video creation. Okay. Whoa, I'm on time. Okay, so before we move on, any questions for this thing? Anything about the camera language, the 3x structure? Okay, because later we're really going to start this thing, right? So I also want to, we will be going around to assist you all, to also guide you on how to actually draft out your storyboard and make sure that your story is clear. But, okay, we're all good, huh? Okay, then right now, we're going to be speaking in groups of 3. We have 12 people, right? Okay, Ken, 3 groups of 3. So one group inside we have 4 people, yeah? I'm not sure if this is the group already. Looks like this is it. Yeah, okay, Ken. Then please identify your roles. There will be a team leader, someone that will represent the team, and we're going to have your storyboard artist. Okay, so just find the one that you think can draft out the storyboard the best. Then brainstorm about a simple story, okay, that align with the total defense, like just now how I did it. Okay, and then implement the 3x story structure. Okay, this is a 1 hour session, but after that there will be a 30-minute refinement. So actually total will be 1.5 hours, and then at the end of the day we'll get you to present your storyboard as a team. Okay? You need a break? Yeah, yes, toilet break. 15 minutes. So we'll be back at. Now it's 2:40. Yeah. So we'll be back at 3:05. Okay? Yeah. Good. Okay. Yes, cross collaboration between Okay guys, so we'll have a good color break. I already put the materials on your table. I assume that these are the groups already. There's actually the writing paper with the storyboard panels, with some pencils. There's actually a red pen. So the red pen was actually meant for you to draw the arrows, okay, for your indication of like the camera movement actions. Okay, so by right this 60 minutes we will have to. Yeah, okay, no ideas, right? Let me share you all a secret. I need to let you all know first. That story that you all saw just now, okay, I want to be very honest. I checked GPT one. But I also want to share with you, even if you check GPT something, doesn't mean you just wholesale use it. Because when I saw the story, the essence of it works. But then when I brought it out into the story, I realized there's a lot of things I need to take note, like how to break up the sentences so that you can tell a story better rather than. I want to give you an example. Let me show you. Just now this story, just example. When I was given the so-called script on the storyboard panels, I literally told them, give me a storyboard panel, give me a storyboard for this story. He gave me this entire script together. So if you are someone that is not clear on your storyboard, or you just draw one picture, you expect everything to be inside, which will be a problem later when you start to create your video. You might feel like, actually, too many things we want to reduce, and you might have to break up into more shots. So that's the thing about ChatGPT. They might not give you exactly how you want to tell the story. They might not tell you how you want to tell the story your way. Like where you want to emphasize certain things, what kind of shots you want to use. Is it low angle shots? Is it established shot? They won't tell you. They just tell you, hey, okay, panel 1 do this, panel 2 do this. So at the end of the day, ChatGPT is an assistant. Okay, assists you to create a story. You might have to fine tune it. I did fine tune it with the details to tweak it so that it is visually clear on storyboard. So I think we can say safely say that for this case, this 1 hour, okay, maybe you just want to try to use ChatGPT come out with some ideas. But I think with that, you find a way to body out visually clear. Okay, because later you can share with me your idea. I don't need to know where it come from. I just need to know it explain. Okay? Cool? So this 60 minutes, let's plan ourselves a little bit. Maybe about 10-15 minutes, we just come up with some idea generation, brainstorming. And then from there we start to drop some I just want to share you, for me that time, how I did it was, I didn't even draw a picture yet. I just write out so that I roughly know how many panels I need to bother with. So that in case I realize, hey, I need another panel, I can just quickly erase, and then I just get everything. So once you write out all the words, the text, more or less you get a framework of your storyboard. Okay, then you start to figure out all these drawing things, okay? Yeah, then you can
Yeah.
So I would say that after you got your ideation out, just try to roughly word out the words. Anyway, there's additional papers at the back in case you need. And we have a sharpener here also in case you need to sharpen your pencil.
About misinformation. Okay, so in a nice HDB, okay, there is a house, and in a house, in a living room, there is a crack, and in the crack, there is 2 lover lizards inside. Okay, the Zhihao.
Sorry, yeah, I kept that to myself.
Well, now, okay, then after that, there is the guy lizard gets a message on his phone. Okay, and then after that, the guy lizard runs off. So the girl's like, what's happening here? And then after that, the scene cuts to the guy lizard is in a restaurant and he is with another girl lizard. And there's a box in between. Okay, how dare he? So what happened was that there is Zhihao's friend. Okay, we'll call her friend Zhihao. Okay, friend Zhihao sees it, and she takes a picture of this thing that is happening through the window of this restaurant. Okay, and then she says, "Let me tell you what happened." It says, "What happened?" And then she sends the photo of the boyfriend and this other girl Zhihao together at the restaurant. And then she's like, WTF, okay. So her face is like, and then because she's so angry. Then after that, so the guy is happily coming back. Okay, so he's walking up the crack wall to the wall. Yes, okay, back to their crack, their happy crack. Okay,
It's just
well, sorry. Okay, wait, I realized how it turned out. Okay. So the guy is very happy, so that's why there is flowers. He's like, yay, right? He's coming back. And then the girl is like, oh, she's very angry. And then so there is like this scene of like a ding. They're like one is happy, one is angry. And then the girl stands on the edge of the crack. And the guy is coming up. And she is so angry, she steps on his fingers. So here, it steps on his finger. So here, she's very angry. And then here, this is where she steps on his fingers. He let go, and then the Zhihao falls off the walls and dies. Oh, wait, sorry. Falls off the wall. The blood is splattering everywhere. And then in his hand, out comes a ring. And then here it says their name is like his and the girlfriend's name, which is like Gecko and Lizzie. Her name is Lizzie. Because lizard, get it? Lizzie. Okay, so 5 ever. So they are very happy together. But guess what? So then it ends with a tagline that says misinformation kills.
Oh my god.
yeah, so this is like super K drama style. All the K music Okay, can. So I'll just let everybody go through the story first, and later I just have one big, overall feedback. Okay. So, but it's a very good story, very exciting. I hope this one, I really want to see because do you guys know this is literally your blueprint for tomorrow? So this one is going to become a show. So you're going to stick with it, you're going to commit to it. This is your story already. Okay, you're gonna generate a lot of lizards killing and dying with a lot of blood. Okay? Okay, can we move on to the second group, okay? Second group about rats.
Yeah.
Okay, so our story is very much about misinformation. So where the story has happened is that this is a HDB flat, block 511. 510.
Oh.
Because that's our address.
Oh,
510.
okay.
So when the screen will move down, and then you will see that the rats are having breakfast in the morning. So suddenly, then they heard someone shouting, "Hey, got virus from rats!" So then everybody, this information actually is from human. So they started shouting, and everybody started panicking. Oh my God, there's rats, and then they are spreading the virus. So what they started to do is that they start to put down mouse trap to prevent the rats going to near them and things like that. Then the rats start to wonder, why does the virus come from us? We didn't even do anything wrong. And so the rat transformed into a super rat. Okay? Basically to investigate what's happening. So they started following the rat to find out, follow other rats to find out what's happening and where do they get all this information from. So that it starts to show that the humans start spreading fake news to talk about like avoid block 510. That's where the rat start to spread the virus. Then the rat get their friends to start investigating this, like the call center kind. And they can start to investigating who is spreading the virus and things like that.
Oh, it's the headline.
Then the main character mentions that this smells like misinformation. So they start to find out and investigate who is actually spreading this fake news. So apparently, they found out that there's actually this bad person anyhow sending out the information and spreading the bad news about rat creating this virus. And then on news, then you'll see Ong Kang, Tan Kim Yong, and Lawrence Wong. They're sharing that things that are happening. Actually, it's all misinformation. The rats are not spreading any virus. So then the rats got happy, and when they saw this on the TV, and so don't be rattled, be sure. Don't be
Nice.
So
yeah. This one is actually a very epic story because it's about civilization. The whole civilization that's been wrong, they want to prove themselves right. Yeah. So very epic. I think it's like political drama.
Rats need to fight for their rights.
Okay.
They are rats.
Okay, now go to the last group. Okay, like who wants to be the who's the leader? Come on. Come. You must support your leader. Yeah, you just got volunteer, it's okay.
Okay, what do you do?
Only the first 5.
Okay, the theme of ours is not misinformation because we were misinformed. So it's about total defense, mainly about digital defense. Okay, so the first scene you see here is actually in a concert. Okay, and then you have like the lights pop, and then the next one is the singer appear. Okay, so from the below the stage, then you appear out, and then you will see you will hear a lot of screaming, and then focusing on one dude here, the elephant, and then the parents screaming, and then the close up of the guitarist strumming. Okay, so that's the first element of being hypnotized in a sense. So the strum, and then the fella sing, and then you can see that all the friends got hypnotized in that sense. So the more the fella sing, the more hypnotized they are, and then you can see all the FAs, all the password, the weak password all come up from the head in that sense. Okay, so then the more intense it will be, the more faster the passwords and the weak passwords all comes up, and then suddenly you will see one person don't have anything comes up in that sense, the weak password. So then this fella see like left and right, look left, look right. And then like, why am I not hypnotized? And then he will see like from the front row, kena hypnotized, then from like it's going towards him, and then he realized that all the passwords are actually going up, right? And then he take out his phone and then download the scam shield. Okay, then download the scam shield, and then the fella got a bubble of shield with him, and then and then the singer realized like, how come he's not being hypnotized, so she get very angry, then she's like more intense. And then he will get the people around him to touch, so then the bubble get bigger, the shield get bigger, and then that's how we conquer the world. So from so the camera pan from left to right, and then it's like a kallang wave where the shield gets bigger and then conquer the whole entire concert, and then it will zoom out and see the singer there being vulnerable in that sense. Then and then poof.
The singer gone. Lady Gaga gone.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to. Okay. Just I'm gonna have some overall feedback first. Okay, then maybe I'll just maybe give some pointers for some of the story, because I think all of you got very unique story. But just to make sure that for tomorrow's the video generation, the image generation, that there's some certain plots that might need to be clear so that the story can be told better. Okay. But I think in general, good job everybody. Is this the first time you are drawing storyboards?
Yes.
No, I see some okay, so that one professional one.
Wonder your one.
But I hope you have a good experience here. I think one thing to take note, I know that you all didn't really write, but just make sure that when I guess tomorrow, because imagine when you want to pass some of this material like your friend or your colleague and they also don't know what's going on, so it's good to just write some of the information down, okay? And also I understand that cannot be blamed because some of you might not be very fluent in drawing, but just take note of what kind of camera angles you want to use, because I think you are very clear what you want to say, but I think some of the angles might be a little bit consistently like always in the middle, which is okay because you are just quickly trying to ideate something up. But like for tomorrow, because you can't be just writing, okay, the red is going to call center or what blah blah, right? There must be some specific prompt. So you need to figure out, is it a low angle, high angle, up shot, down shot, is it a wide shot, okay? So that you can be clear on how to convey the mood of the story rather than just telling the story. To be honest, today you're actually up here to present this thing in a way because you are saying it. So it's also in a way that you can tell the story easily because you're saying it. But imagine this video, let's say tomorrow you create a video. You're gonna post out there or whatever, or you're gonna show people. You're not gonna be there to explain, so this story, okay, so this one, yeah. So in a way, your video have to be able to tell the story itself. Okay, so just take note. Sometimes you might have to break up to more shots just to convey some of the transition or some of the message that you want to tell in that scene more. Okay, so let me just go through quickly. This one is good. Yep. Okay, group one. The story. Yeah. You all like the story? This one? Good? Drama, K-drama. So I think there's a lot of dynamic angles that you have to consider because there's going to be a lot of conflict, confrontation, a lot of dark shot, tip angle, low angle, stuff like that. And also, I think the part where there is that moment where the friend saw this scene, yeah, I guess has to be conveyed clearly, like from this scene to this scene, how is it being taken and then coming to long form here. Okay? Okay. Anyway, I realized you all got very unique worlds. So this whole world inside happy crack. I guess it's called the happy crack, right?
All animals live in the
I mean, the rat also is a whole small nation. It's a very interesting story because it's like a lot of story revolving around animals, you know. And the rest one is like you're gonna work with the human because we were talking about the rest is beside the peninsula, right? We were actually yeah. So okay. So yeah, just remember like where this world is because sometimes I think like for this moment here, when they are meeting each other, actually I did not know that they were actually here. As in the going up this thing. This is actually a elevated platform. What is it?
It's a wall.
It's a wall, right? Yeah. So I guess have to establish where they are. If not, it's like then come here. So we get lost somewhere. Yeah. And so I guess in general every time you start a new scene, try to establish where, or at least establish the scene first. Okay, before you start to go to the drama or go to the action that's going on. Yeah. Okay, so this is all the action part. Okay, can. So we move on to group 2. Group 2 on the yeah, I think like this kind where there's suddenly a text there, we want to know where is it coming from. Is it from the TV or is it like some motion graphics or what? So we get to figure out where is this coming from.
I think it was
okay, so if you want to create an effect, just make sure that when you pop it looks like the old school. And in fact, okay, so I was thinking that I understand that they are all in panic mode and then they have all this putting the mouse thing. It would be nice to have more shots of where is this being placed. Because this is actually a very crucial scene that they are actually becoming very defensive and aggressive way. So we want to know how serious it is because now there's just one this catcher here.
But the idea would be like to put the mouse right over where the rats are, then inside
Or
the
at least
shop
where
goes
the
down.
rest will stay.
Then below is
Then we translate nicely to this. And this shot here, I think that it should be actually like the entire civilization or at least more rats down there looking up people's going on. Yeah. Because this one is like conveniently like AYI. But is this story about one rat or is it about a society of rats? Yeah, it's completely understand. Okay? So I guess when you all prompt it tomorrow, just understand that it's based on the society of rats rather than like a family of rats.
okay.
And this is a very interesting, which is very good to convey. So think of the type of shot. This one most likely is an established one because you want to see like a core center of rats, like the perspective shot, and then you see everybody doing their work, helping to figure out what's going on and then investigate. And this is a very cool idea. It's like maybe you look up, yeah, so more than one rat, yeah. And this one definitely a one. I was mentioning that there should be a process where we at least show like this rat, they investigated where did they found the source, and then showing like the culprit, where he is, and then how they capture him before they go to the Now this is like your climax already. They got it already. Okay, so it has to be. This one is very important issue. Then this is a resolution. Yay, happy, yay! And then this TV. I don't know how big this TV is supposed to be in a red mode, but yeah, it could be. Okay, so sometimes when I tell story, I like to have some sort of sensibility to the world. It could be actually they are looking at the real TV outside, looking from the window or
So it's behind the reality.
yeah, over the shoulder shot, Okay, so there's some relation to the real world. Not like conveniently I mean, this is cool. This is a call center. I'm not sure how it's going to look like, but yeah, it's a very nice concept. But for this one, it's like the TV. Maybe you want to integrate somehow with the real people. Okay, then yeah, then this very this 10 picture. Sure. Okay. Okay. Moving on to the last one. Okay, this story very unique. So it's like, I guess eventually the Lady Gaga is a villain. Okay? Yeah. So the singer is actually a villain. Who actually wants to, because at the end we also want to figure out who is the villain, their motive, and who is the main character. Yeah, so apparently the singer is the villain, and her motive actually, the whole big ass concept is actually just to get everyone information. I'm assuming it looks like this.
That's right. The singer
is
is
a
a hologram.
Yeah, correct. So you mentioned, right, it should be a digital looking character to portray that she is also related to the digital world. Okay. Then I think just one thing that we were talking about, the fox. So we were mentioning that actually he, instead of asking why he's not affected, I think the term we discussed was, it's not everybody getting affected yet, but he see what's happening, and then he, quickly activate the stem shield. Yeah, and then I think this part here, if you want to cut the story short, actually by right, once he go to the stem shield, he can just straight to protect all these people already. Yeah, rather than this one, because it feels like she's very okay. Sorry, unless you want to have this scene where it's a one-off, one means one-to-one. I mean, she's specifically targeting this guy. Then we had to be very clear how she see it. Yeah, like a zoom, like and then like zoom to this particular character. Yeah, then like she, then the guy like no, then okay. So I think want to establish clearer how they have this this what is this this standoff like a standoff kind of session before all this thing happened here. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's just some of the plot points that. Just some of this angle, just think a little bit more dramatic. I said because the ending really right, and eventually it needs to come back to this character. So when you're prompted, just think of the shot to use. Okay. So this is just some of the tips that I would want to suggest, just to make sure that your story is a little more congruent and more solid. Okay. Ken, thank you so much, guys. Okay. Yeah. Okay, last one already. So, just to recap, okay? I mean, we're going to the end of the workshop already. Just want to ask you some questions. Maybe everyone can just answer. Anybody want to try? What are the storyboarding languages? Anybody raise your hand? Yeah, what is some of the storyboarding languages that we learned today?
For the different shots.
Yeah, okay, the type of shots.
Composition.
Okay, composition. Any more?
3X story.
There's one, but there's one more. Regarding the character. Yes, emotion, right? So these are some of the basic stuff. The type of shot, camera movement, the character emotions, right? Okay, so what is the 3X structure? The interesting is today, actually, when I went through all your story, there is a 3X structure, but you realize that the 3X structure that you all did isn't necessarily like the one that we actually explored, like the Finding Nemo, the Harry Potter, because those are very heroic story structure. But yours is actually like you have a setup, and then there's some conflict, and then it was resolved, which is also fine. And it's a very interesting result because actually it is also considered a 3X structure. Okay, you have your setup, your confrontation, your rising action, followed by your resolution. Okay. Okay, so this one is very important. This is a little more already. Why? So why am I here? I've been here for 3 hours. Why?
It's a good time.
Yes.
So communicate
Save
story.
time.
Save time for tomorrow.
Yeah. Imagine if you never do this, tomorrow you go in to start say, come a story. Oh. You all probably will prompt until, but you also don't want to, the story probably can't be. So, I mean, not just for generating AI images, but in general, we always use storyboarding for our production, be it for animation, live film, even games, or even commercials. Okay? So with that, thank you. Thank you everybody for your time. Hope you enjoy your experience here. You can scan this QR code for your feedback. Yeah. And it's 5. Yeah, 5:05. Yeah. I'll play some music. So yeah, so